Here's more of this falling apart at the seams. You can see through here that the slabs have been moved out of place, possibly for skateboarders. These monuments, these blocks over here are wrecked and off their foundations. There are more foundations over here. You can see close up, there's the blocks. There's something relevant to that. This is tilted. It's been blocked like that for a long time. Traffic. And if you notice, we can move this down. It says not in service, which clearly relates to the blocks. So we can put not in service. Clearly relates to the blocks, as if there were a war occurring here. Something not right. And you can go down farther here. This makes it clearer. Again, not in service. Here's the full view of the situation, not in service, the block. Again, I think this is clearer than the other shot, or maybe this is the other shot. I'm not sure, I just woke up. Think about Europe as an escape or as a watch, an escapement. This was on the way across the highway and down the road. Europe, the street, go there. Go there and don't turn back. There isn't a way to turn back. One way down the road, and you need a ticket of some sort. However, as this points out, it's not in service, so there's no possibility of getting a ticket or anything like that. You might get a ticket for speeding, but certainly not there. I like to think of this as a path through the electrical history of Providence, through the electrical history of Providence, but it all goes down to the wire, doesn't it? and towards this goal, or towards this direction. The plague announces itself with the slightest provocation. That should be the end of it. Now, I mean, leaving this spot alone as if this were work or a way to produce something or influence people along the way of the plague which announces itself. So, what I mean to say is what I've been thinking about here for a long time, and that is, say, for example, that you have 10 million people in Ukraine, and say you have 10 billion people on Earth, so it's 1 out of 1,000 would be in Ukraine. This is not, none of this is true the way I'm saying it, of course. Well, then, one could argue that one should be happy or content that only 1 out of 1,000 people is being injured, or that history is being cut off. That history is being cut off. But there are the remainder of the people, and most people aren't going through this at all. Aren't going through this at all. So the easiest thing might be to literally forget this and not do it with those kinds of consequences. But it seems to me that there are those consequences, in fact, because there are those consequences, in fact, because you've got a situation where every death is the deconstruction, the falling apart of an entire universe, and that is what is going on in a situation like that. That you could say that's all that's going on in a situation like that, is that it's the death of everything when someone dies, and that comes as no surprise. Which is from someone else's poem. Someone else. But the truth of all of that is there, I do believe. There is enormous reason now to grieve. And that is what will happen then. That is what will happen now and again. That there remains reason yet to grieve. And now we've come to the end. To the end. It's a question of getting, getting this thing, getting this thing, getting this thing off, getting this thing off.